going on, you guys? Devin the Dream Haney, as we know, got a fight coming up with George Kambosos, a rematch. And George Kambosos has been very quiet since this thing got announced. Humble George is what we should call him, because let's be honest, after he beat Teofimo Lopez, oh man, he was a hell of a guy, right? But now he's been quiet. Devin Haney says Kambosos is quiet right now, like he should have been before our first fight. And he's right. Going into that fight, nobody really gave George Kambosos a chance to beat Devin Haney, even though Devin Haney had the odds stacked against him. As far as him being over there in his country, the situation with his training father, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Devin Haney still went out there and performed and pretty much shut out George Kambosos. But another fight that fans been looking to see Devin Haney in, of course, Gervonta Tank Davis. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. But Vasily Lomachenko, who has a fight coming up with Jermaine Ortiz this October as well. And Devin Haney, initially he seemed like, okay, I want to fight Loma. Then he said maybe. Then he said, well, it's all depending on what my dad thinks, right? So Bob Arum comes out and says that they're agreeable in fighting Vasily Lomachenko next, if both guys get past their next opponents. Now, based off what Devin Haney said, he didn't seem like he was, what I took from it was, my dad got to see how I look in the fight. He knows me better than anybody. If he thinks it's just time for me to move up, then I'm going to just go ahead and move up. But if he thinks I have another fight left in me at 135, then we can go ahead and do the Vasily Lomachenko fight. So, of course, Vasily Lomachenko wants this opportunity as well. It'll be a straight shot right into undisputed at lightweight for Lomachenko. I think it's a fight that should happen. 2023, Haney versus Lomachenko. It should definitely happen if both guys get past their next opponents. Now, Jermaine Ortiz should be a pretty tough guy. Top Rank usually does match their guys up pretty well for the most part. So I expect Jermaine Ortiz to bring the fight for Lomachenko. But there's another guy in lightweight division that's recently been matched up with Devin Haney. And Robert Garcia recently came out and says that Devin Haney can't beat Isak the Pitbull Cruz. The Pitbull, with his ferocious style. He says that Devin Haney don't got the power to keep Pitbull off of him. He don't got the power to keep him off for 12 rounds. Yeah, he could probably outbox for 3 or 4 rounds, but he can't do it for 12. And Pitbull has the chin and the ferociousness to beat Devin the Dream Haney. Interesting, right? But the way things are seemingly going right now in boxing, I don't really see guys like Jose Venezuela, who got upset by Des Los Santos, Pitbull Cruz, Tank Davis, Rolly. I don't see any of those guys really cross-fighting with anybody from Top Rank or DAZN. I don't necessarily see the PBC lightweights or the lighter weight guys really matching up with these guys over here on this side. I honestly don't see it. Really, at this point, you guys, a lot of that shit is fantasy. Unless mandated, right? Unless mandated, then we'll see. But then again, will sanctioned bodies like WBA mandate Gervonta Tank Davis and Devin Haney to fight if the Lomachenko fight doesn't happen? Or if it does happen and Devin Haney decides to stick around, which I highly doubt, will they mandate that fight? I doubt it. So the politics of boxing is really, really tricky. It can be really tricky at times. You just never really know what's going to happen in boxing. But of course, Devin Haney has to get past George Kambosos. Many of us expect him to do so. It's a lucrative payday for George Kambosos. He said if he don't beat Devin Haney this time, he's going to retire. A lot of people don't expect George Kambosos to beat Devin Haney, and Devin Haney is still getting better and better with each fight. So not only did Pitbull Cruz get put in the mix at lightweight, you know, he's a very interesting fighter, very exciting fighter, becoming a fan favorite. He seems to be able to draw somewhat of a crowd. A lot of the people there at the last event seem to be there for the Pitbull. He's a very exciting fighter. But as far as him beating Devin Haney, we're going to have to see it, right? You know, he compared the fight with Tank Davis. Of course, Tank Davis broke his hand in the fight. And, you know, Tank Davis handled the Pitbull pretty well with one hand. So, you know, one would imagine Devin Haney, a guy with a much longer reach, much bigger guy, he could really keep Pitbull at bay. But Pitbull will be in his face all night. And speaking of Gervonta Tank Davis, of course, him and Devin Haney had a few words over the past week or so. And it's unfortunate that these guys won't end up fighting anytime soon, right? We just know they're not going to fight. A lot of these guys aren't really mentioning Devin Haney's name. It's crazy, right? These guys, they're mentioning everybody but Devin Haney. He's the guy with all the belts right now. He's the guy that's seemingly willing to fight anybody that's willing to fight him, right? But unfortunately for him, these guys aren't knocking at the door to fight Devin Haney. It's crazy, right? It's crazy, crazy, crazy. You know, you figure a lot of these dudes will be in position to go right into a fight with Devin Haney. A guy like Tank Davis can get an immediate title shot with Devin Haney. Guess what? It'll never happen. It'll never happen because this is boxing, you know. Floyd Mayweather already told us it won't happen. And then we got Shakur Stevenson, who said that he's looking to come up really, really soon. So will Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney happen anytime soon? Quite possibly. But Devin Haney's a guy that's at the brink of 140. So I don't think those guys are going to be fighting anytime soon until Devin Haney actually settles at a weight class and then Shakur Stevenson finally catches up. So, yeah, with Devin Haney, man, I think he should get through with George Kambosos, like many of us expect him to do. Fight Lomachenko, right? If he's still comfortable making 135. Let's be honest, he's busting at the seams at 135 right now. So he may have to move up soon after Kambosos. But if he's able to fight Lomachenko, and then after that, see what's left for him at 140, so he could possibly go up and fight Teofimo Lopez or any of the guys at 140 that's holding the belt. You know, Devin Haney, if he decides to move up with the belts, he'll be a guy that's likely in position to fight for a world title almost immediately. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Devin Haney within the next year or so. Really not too much going on in boxing this week, but with Devin the Dream Haney, man, he said George Kambosos, yeah, he's quiet now like he should have been the first fight. Tell me what you guys think. Like, subscribe, holla at your boy. Peace out.